Every man wants to win, but 99% will never taste victory because they wait for motivation to save them. Let me tell you something real. Motivation is a liar. It comes and goes. Discipline, that's the beast you build when nobody's watching. And that beast never lets you fail. Motivation is the drug everyone's addicted to because it feels good. It gives you a quick hit of inspiration, a buzz of energy, a moment of illusion that you're actually doing something. But here's the cold reality. Motivation is weak, it's temporary, it dies as soon as the first sign of resistance shows up. Everyone's motivated when they watch a flashy video, read a quote, or hear a speech, but that motivation is gone the second the alarm rings at 5 a.m. on a cold morning. Motivation won't get you out of bed. Motivation won't keep you grinding after 10 hours of failure. Motivation is soft. And if your entire life is built around waiting to feel like it, you're already done. You've already lost. The winners of this world don't rely on feelings. They don't wait until they're in the mood. They operate on discipline. Discipline is brutal. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care how tired you are. Discipline says, we do this anyway. That's the difference between the average and the elite. One shows up when it's easy. The other shows up no matter what. Discipline is waking up early when your body wants more sleep. Discipline is saying no to comfort. No to distraction, no to weakness. Discipline is the voice in your head that overrules your emotions and forces action. People worship motivation because they're afraid of responsibility. They want to blame their inconsistency on not feeling motivated. It's a built-in excuse. But discipline removes the excuses. Discipline means you are responsible for everything. You do it because it needs to be done. Not because you want to, not because you're excited, but because you are in control. That's what scares people, control. Real discipline is self-control on the highest level, and that kind of control doesn't come from YouTube videos or dopamine hits. It comes from pain. It comes from putting yourself through the grind until your brain understands that excuses don't matter. You have to realize that motivation is an illusion sold to the weak. It's a lie wrapped in energy music and highlight reels. It doesn't last. It never does. The real ones, the killers, the high performers, the disciplined, they don't care how they feel. They care about outcomes. They care about doing what needs to be done, whether they're excited or not. They understand that life doesn't wait for motivation. Life punishes those who delay. Life rewards the ones who are consistent. So if you want to win, really win, not just talk about it, not just pretend you're grinding, then burn the idea that motivation matters. Forget the hype, stop chasing the feeling, start chasing the result. Discipline is the backbone of every successful person you admire. You don't see it because it's not glamorous, it's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's always there, quiet, ruthless, relentless. And that's exactly why it works. You need to make discipline your foundation, because when everything else fails, when the hype dies, when the people leave, when the excitement disappears, discipline is the only thing that will carry you through. Your emotions are the easiest way to lose control of your life. Every weak man is a slave to how he feels. He's tired, so he skips the gym. He's angry, so he says something stupid. He's sad, so he quits. You can't let your emotions run your life and expect to win. Discipline starts the moment you stop letting how you feel determine what you do. That means when you're tired, you move anyway. When you're annoyed, you stay calm. When you're anxious, you act with confidence. Real strength isn't about how hard you can hit, it's about how well you can control your internal chaos. People think discipline is about physical effort, about going to the gym or grinding at work. That's part of it, sure, but the core of discipline is mental control. Your brain is wired for comfort. It wants the path of least resistance. That voice in your head that says, take it easy, you've done enough, rest now, that voice is your enemy. And if you listen to it, you're done. Discipline is the voice that tells that voice to shut up. Discipline says, I hear you, but I'm not listening. It's a war between your weak self and your dominant self. And the dominant self only wins if you feed it through action. Look around. Most people are emotional wrecks. They lash out, they cry over nothing, they need therapy because they never learned how to control themselves. You want to be powerful? Learn to control your mind. Learn to control your emotions. Learn to master yourself when everything inside of you wants to break. You think successful people are fearless? They're not. They just learned how to feel fear and act anyway. You think warriors never feel pain? They do. They just don't let pain decide their next move. Emotional control is not about being numb. It's about being so focused on the mission that nothing can distract you. Every time you choose action over emotion, you're training yourself to be stronger. Every time you stick to the plan instead of reacting impulsively, you're becoming more dangerous. And let's be clear, this isn't about suppressing emotions like some robot. It's about choosing what serves you and rejecting what doesn't. If anger fuels your training, use it. If sadness slows you down, drop it. Your emotions are tools, not leaders. They don't make decisions. You do. Most people sabotage themselves from the inside. They could have succeeded. They had the time. They had the resources. But they lost the internal battle. They gave into laziness. They reacted to disrespect. They got offended. They felt insecure. And instead of doing what needed to be done, they collapsed. That's not discipline. That's weakness. And weakness has no place in a life of dominance. Every man that ever became great had to first conquer himself. That's the real battlefield. It's not the gym, it's not the boardroom, it's your mind. And every day you either train it or let it decay. When you feel like quitting but keep going, that's the rep that matters. That's the rep that builds you. Not when it's easy, but when it's hell and you keep walking through the fire. Discipline is walking through the fire without blinking. Discipline is the difference between the man who says he'll do something and the one who actually does it. Everyone talks, everyone has ideas, dreams, goals, but very few have the discipline to wake up every single day and move the needle. That's why the world is filled with average people pretending they're just unlucky. It's not luck they lack, it's discipline. Real discipline means showing up when no one's watching. When it's cold, when you're sore, when your mind says, skip today. That's where winners are made. In the silence, in the shadows, where no applause exists and no one is clapping. Only those who show up consistently earn the right to win. You want to be rich? Be disciplined. You want respect? Be disciplined. You want power? Build discipline like a machine. The gym is a perfect example. It doesn't care about your feelings. You lift or you don't. The results will expose you. There's no hiding. It's the purest form of honesty. If you train, the body will show it. If you skip, the body will expose it. That's why disciplined men thrive there. They embrace that harsh truth. They don't run from it. They don't justify laziness. They dominate it. But it's not just about the gym. It's about every part of life. Diet, sleep, money, habits, how you use your time. Discipline rules all of it. And once you master discipline in one area, it leaks into the others. You wake up early to train and suddenly you've got more energy to work. You control your diet and suddenly you feel sharper. You stop wasting time scrolling and now you've got hours to build something real. Discipline compounds, and when it compounds, it turns ordinary men into machines. Most people live in cycles of motivation. They get fired up, do something for 3 days, then crash. That's why they never build anything long term. They chase highs, not results. Discipline doesn't care if you're hyped up. It only cares if you execute. That's why it's reliable. You don't need to wait until you feel good. You just move. That's power. That's freedom. When your emotions don't dictate your actions, you become unstoppable. And the beautiful thing? Discipline is earned. It's not gifted. You don't need talent. You don't need connections. You don't need a single dollar. You just need to show up. One more rep. One more hour, one more disciplined decision when it would be easy to slip. Stack enough of those and you become someone no one can compete with. Not because you're flashy, but because you're relentless. Because you don't stop. Everyone wants to look strong. Few want to be strong because being strong requires discipline. And discipline is uncomfortable. It's painful. It's boring. But that's the gateway. You suffer now or suffer later. There's no escape. Discipline is choosing your suffering on your own terms. It's saying, I'd rather bleed in the grind than rot in regret. Most people won't do it. That's why they never make it. They'll blame the world, but deep down, they know they just weren't disciplined enough to win. The average person thinks motivation is everything. They think if they just had more motivation, they'd wake up early, eat clean, build a business, hit the gym, chase goals, win in life. But that's why they stay average. Motivation is nothing but emotion. It comes and goes like the weather. Some mornings you'll wake up ready to conquer the world. Other mornings you'll feel like doing absolutely nothing. If your entire strategy depends on motivation, you've already lost. The real winners don't wait to feel good. They execute whether they feel like it or not. Discipline is the power source. Discipline is doing what's necessary even when you don't want to. This is where most people tap out because they're addicted to comfort, addicted to ease, addicted to feeling good. They'll chase anything that gives them a dopamine hit: food, social media, video games, Netflix, but they won't chase the pain that produces greatness. Discipline is the ability to say no when everything in your body screams yes. It's the ability to hold the line, to stay focused, to say, I don't care how I feel, I made a commitment and I keep it. That's what separates men who rise from those who rot. Look around, mediocrity is everywhere. You don't need motivation to be average. You don't need a plan to be broke. You don't need discipline to drift through life. But if you want to build something elite, if you want a body, a bank account, a mind, and a reputation that commands respect, then discipline is the gatekeeper. That means early mornings. That means silence when others are partying. That means consistency when no one's clapping. And it means suffering while others choose softness. People will call it extreme. Let them. Winners live in extremes. They get results the average can't even dream about. Every single day, you're either building discipline or destroying it. Every decision matters. You skip the workout, discipline weakens. You hit snooze, discipline weakens. You scroll for hours instead of working, discipline weakens. But when you resist the easy path, you train your mind like a weapon. It sharpens, it hardens. It starts obeying you instead of your emotions. And when you gain control over your own mind, the world starts to bend around you. That's the truth people don't want to hear. They want shortcuts, hacks, secret formulas. The real formula is boring. It's brutal. It's cold, but it works. Discipline, repeated daily, without fail. There's something ruthless about a man with discipline. He doesn't need to talk. He doesn't need to flex. You can feel it in how he moves, how he shows up, how he refuses to make excuses. He's dangerous because you can't shake him. You can't distract him. You can't tempt him. He's locked in. And most people hate that because it reminds them of what they're not. That's why discipline isn't just about routine, it's about identity. It's about becoming someone whose word means everything. Someone who keeps promises, especially to himself. Because once you break your word to yourself, you lose power. You lose respect. And if you can't respect yourself, no one else will. Discipline isn't a phase. It's not a 30-day challenge. It's a way of life. It's the foundation you build your empire on. Every brick, every move, every win, it all starts with discipline. Most people live life reacting to their environment. They wait for inspiration, for the perfect moment, for someone to validate them or push them forward. That mindset will keep you broke, weak, and forgotten. Discipline flips that script. Discipline makes you the one who moves first, strikes first, and stays ahead. It puts you in the driver's seat where you dictate your pace, your standard, and your outcome, regardless of circumstances. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your training. And if you haven't trained yourself through discipline, you have nothing to fall back on when life punches you in the mouth. Discipline is a weapon. You use it to cut through laziness, distractions, fear, and weakness. While others are waiting for a feeling, a spark, or a miracle, you're already on the battlefield. You've built a system where action happens regardless of mood. There's no debate, no negotiation with yourself. It's time to work. It's time to grind. You don't ask for permission, and you don't need a second opinion. That's the edge that makes you lethal in any environment. You get things done not because it's fun or exciting, but because it's necessary. That's the mistake people make. They think greatness is built on motivation and excitement. They think success comes from being passionate every single day. That's a fantasy. The truth is, success is born from repetition, from showing up day in and day out, even when you're tired, even when you're uninspired, even when the results haven't shown up yet. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline only cares about execution. It only cares about consistency. People will say that's boring, that it's robotic. But what they don't understand is this: freedom comes from discipline. Power comes from discipline. Victory comes from discipline. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to act. That's what separates winners from talkers. Winners do what needs to be done, whether or not they feel like it. And through that repetition, they build strength, they build focus, they build resilience. Life isn't going to wait for you to feel ready. The world will keep moving. So either you build the discipline to move with it, or you get left behind. The ones who win are the ones who stopped needing motivation and started demanding more from themselves. The hardest part is when nobody's watching, when it's just you, your habits and your goals staring back at you in silence. That's when discipline is tested. So either rise or collapse. If you show up only when people are watching, that's not discipline, that's performance. But real winners train in the dark. They sharpen their craft in silence, and when the time comes, they strike with such precision that the world is forced to pay attention. Discipline is not some buzzword. It's the brutal, silent force that reshapes your identity, your body, your income, and your legacy. You want to separate yourself from the pack? Build discipline so unshakable that even chaos can't move you. Then watch how quickly you rise. Discipline is not just about waking up early or grinding in the gym. It's about long-term thinking. It's the mental armor that shields you from the instant gratification culture that's destroying people left and right. Everywhere you look, people are chasing cheap dopamine, scrolling, binge-watching, eating garbage, numbing themselves with distractions. They live like tomorrow's promise. They act like time is on their side. But the harsh truth? Time is the most ruthless killer there is. It doesn't care how old you are, how talented you are, or what potential you have. It keeps moving. And if you're not disciplined enough to use it, you'll be swallowed whole by regret. Long-term thinking powered by discipline is how you break out of the trap. When you've got discipline, you're not concerned with how something feels in the moment. You're focused on where it's taking you. You understand that the pain of today is the price you pay for power tomorrow. You're not eating clean because it tastes amazing. You're doing it because you know every bite is building the body you want. You're not skipping parties because you hate fun. You're doing it because while they're drinking, you're building. Every sacrifice is a brick in your empire. That's the mindset that elevates you. Most people want shortcuts. They want a six-pack in 6 weeks, $1 million from one course, confidence from one video. That's not how winners think. Winners delay their gratification. They understand that compound interest applies to every area of life: your finances, your health, your mindset. You stack the right decisions every single day, and 6 months later, you're unrecognizable. A year later, 5 years later, people say you're lucky. No, you're not lucky. You're disciplined, you're strategic, you played the long game while they wasted time chasing feelings. There's a reason most people never escape average. They can't handle boredom. They can't handle monotony. They want new, exciting, entertaining. But the top 1%, they fall in love with the process. They don't need applause or attention. They just get the work done day in and day out. Discipline is the engine that keeps them going when everything else runs dry. And because of that, they win. Not sometimes, always. The gap between the average and the elite is built by the days the elite kept going while the average made excuses. You can't fake discipline. It exposes you. It reveals what you truly value. If you're skipping your goals for distractions, don't lie to yourself. You didn't fail because of lack of time. You failed because you lacked discipline. That's not something to cry about. It's something to fix. You fix it by owning your schedule, owning your actions, and locking in on your long-term vision with deadly focus. When you build your life around long-term thinking, you stop being reactive. You stop being fragile. You become calm, calculated, and focused. You stop getting pulled into meaningless drama. You stop being impressed by shiny things. You begin to move like a man with purpose. That's what discipline does. It upgrades your mindset, upgrades your moves, and upgrades your entire identity. Discipline isn't just a tool, it's the foundation of everything. Motivation fades, emotions shift, and people come and go, but discipline stays with you like a weapon. When life punches you in the face, discipline is what keeps you standing. It's what separates the talkers from the doers, the weak from the powerful, the lost from the focused. If you master discipline, You don't need to beg for success. It comes to you because you earned it. The moment you stop chasing comfort and start embracing structure, your life changes. The world doesn't reward the loudest or the laziest. It rewards the most consistent. You either become a weapon built by discipline, or you become a casualty of your own weakness. The choice is yours.